Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Boxing. I'm LB.
And I'm Leti.
So let's talk boxing. All right. So how do you see this fight coming? Come on.
Man, I see this fight with a domination by Shakur. He is gonna dominate Valdez in that ring. It might end up in a knockout this time. Just like I said, the way I've seen Shakur, the way he's built up, and from his last fight and his determination, how confident he is, I think he's going in there with some bad intentions. And I think he's going to dominate the fight, outbox Valdez. And I feel like it might be a knockout towards the end of the rounds. Well, how do you think he's going to do in the ring?
So the more that I break down this fight and I think about this fight, the more I see Shakur stopping Oscar Valdez.
Why?
In Shakur's other fights, like I was looking at a lot of his fights, but when I looked at it, one of the main fights I was looking at is Shakur versus what's his name?
Joy?
Yes, Joy. Shakur versus Joey Gonzalez. Now, Joey Gonzalez is he has more physical advantages than Oscar Valdez, and I think he was even a little bit taller and a longer reach over Shakur Stevenson. And so even with that, he wasn't even able to touch Shakur Stevenson. And in between those, Shakur was able to counter him. You know what I mean? And Shakur, he was in and out. And Shakur being a master of distance, that's like his thing. And so for someone like Joet, who had the physical advantages over Shakur, not being able to touch him, giving Shakur physical advantages over an opponent is damn near scary. It's scary. And we haven't seen that. And so I can see this just being as I can see this being a showcase fight for Shakur. I can see him tagging him when he's coming in. And even I can see him winning at all different ranges. Like when he fought Jamel Herring, he beat him from the outside, mid-range.
Perfection.
And Jamel Herring, he originally was fighting at 135. He was a bigger dude.
Yeah.
Naturally a bigger dude, coming down to 130. And Shakur stopped him. And it's not like Jamel Herring just anybody. Like that was Jamel Herring, what I mean? And Shakur looked big. He looks
big right now.
Yeah, he's been looking big.
He looked big.
And another thing is, I look at that Oscar Valdez, and he had a lot of trouble with Consequia, and that was a pure boxer, and there's nobody on this planet that can convince me that Consequia was a better boxer than Shakur Stevenson.
Hell no.
You know what I mean? And we've seen Oscar been dropped by lesser punchers in the past, and so I just see this being established because I think that I can see Shakur landing too many clean shots. Like I can just see him, just being target practice, and I can either see it look like that, or I can see it start to look like, depending on how Oscar Valdez comes, I can also see it looking like Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia, where Mikey Garcia stopped taking chances and started shelling up, and then it ended up being a decision. So I can see it being like that. But if Oscar Valdez, he comes and he tries to win the fight for 12 rounds, and he's the Oscar Valdez we always see, I can see him being stopped. But if not, if I see him shelling up, which he's never showed us this before.
He's just gonna try to survive.
You know what I mean? But if he's in there to survive, then I can see it going to the cards.
Yeah.
So.
Playing devil's advocate, Valdez does have a lot of knockouts.
He does.
Power punches.
Mm-hmm.
You think he get lucky with one shot on Shakur?
Is he gonna have a problem with the power?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been in there. He's been in there with a puncher. He was in there with a Nakatila dude who's known to have power. I'm not saying that he's got more power or as much power as Valdez, but his record kind of shows that he has power. But I mean, he's been in. We've seen him spar. We know he shared the gym. We shared the ring with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is one of the biggest punchers at 147. So I don't think that he's gonna. He's been in there with him. He's been in there. We've seen him spar with Ugas. So I don't think he's gonna have any problem, with Valdez's power.
So you said like the Nakatila one.
Yeah.
You said in one of the interviews, I believe that Shakur said that he had a lot of power, so that's why he was low-key trying to kind of stay away. If you guys watched that fight, he wasn't as, even though he won a lot of rounds. He wasn't as coming forward and just getting those shots like he was with.
He wasn't as aggressive.
So, do you think that Valdez got to go in there and give him a good hard punch to kind of, respect his power? Because that's what.
I mean,
with the Nakatili fight.
I mean, and that's what I mean. If I was in their camp, that's what I would say too. You're right. That would be. I mean, that's the way that you should. Get that respect. To set the tone early, let Shakur know, hey, it ain't gonna be like
you
what
ain't
you
gonna
thought
walk
it is.
on me.
Nah, you just exactly. And the other thing is with all of Shakur's opponents, afterwards you see him get better. When they're in the ring with him, they're lesser of themselves. It's kind of I don't want to say it because everyone always talks about it. Mayweather does that. He always does that, right? He always does that. He always does that.
Yeah. I was gonna reference Canelo and Mayweather.
Yes, but I hate those big. I hate those big comparisons over. I hate those big comparisons like that. You know what I mean? But
and he ate that too.
But yeah, we saw Nakatila. He came back and it looked good and stopped Burchell. You know what I mean? And Joel Gonzalez, we saw him against Navarrete, and
that was a good fight.
That was a good fight, and you actually could see, how good Joel was, because a lot of people were saying, downplaying Joel because of the fight with Shakur. But you look at him versus Navarrete, who's been looked at as a killer, and it was toe to toe.
Hell yeah, because that's what I thought when Navarrete he was gonna box against Navarrete. I was like, oh damn, Joel, because of how I seen him box with Shakur, he couldn't touch him. Poor guy didn't even get one, good clean shut on Shakur. So I was like, oh shit, he's gonna get dominated. But it was more of a tougher fight, for Navarrete too. So his opponents too, they learn.
And that's the thing, because in that fight, Joel showed you that he's willing to take 2 punches to land one, and he couldn't even do that against Shakur.
Damn.
And he with having those physical advantages, and that's why I just see this as too big to climb. I just see this as too much. And then on top of that, Shakur is a southpaw, and when was the last time Oscar Valdez fought a southpaw, let alone as skilled as Shakur? It's just, I think it's just too much. I think it's just gonna be too much for him, and Shakur's gonna show that his levels to this shit.
And so, what do you think? After the fight's over, you think they're gonna dab it up?
Of course. I think so.
I always like to see what they do after the fight.
I think so. But either way, I mean, we're excited.
I can't wait. Like I said, this is one of the fights that I've been wanting to watch, been waiting to watch this year, and to be able to watch it live. I can't wait.
And anything else you want to add?
No, we're just excited to see this fight, and then we'll be back with the recap.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
And catch us on our next episode of Let's Talk Boxing. Comment down below who you guys think is going to win the fight, how you guys think the fight's going to end. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.